Critical tasks are completed. Progress is made. Momentum is built. And somehow, some way, you are a step closer to fulfilling your goals. Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso. My experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical businesses to 7, 8, and 9 figures. And I'm sharing my journey to having multiple 8-figure companies and someday, hopefully, enjoying a 9-figure exit. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. I'm just telling you how I did this, and I hope that helps you. I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work. And guys, I'd love to connect with you, especially if you're a medical entrepreneur. I have free courses available to help you scale your medical business. Check those out at dralexspinoso.com/courses. That is dralexspinoso.com/courses. I also invite you to connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Alex Spinoso, LinkedIn at the same, and every other platform, YouTube, etc. I am always Dr. Alex Spinoso. Thanks for listening. Everyone knows that to be an entrepreneur is to be overwhelmed. If you want to run a successful business, you better learn how to freaking swim and drown with style, because at all times, there is always a flood of things to do. And if you don't keep working, keep executing, keep completing critical tasks, you are definitely going to drown in the work. That's just the reality of entrepreneurship. The problem with a lot of entrepreneurs is that they don't accept this reality. They don't adjust their mindset to it, and they don't come up with a way to respond, a standard operating procedure for dealing with the reality that there are always a million things to do. They get overwhelmed, and that overwhelm leads to paralysis, and that paralysis leads to falling behind, and that falling behind leads to even greater overwhelm. And it just becomes this vicious cycle until one day they eventually just say, fuck it, I'm done. My dream is just gonna die. I'm going to give up on my dream before I die. And they just tap out and go back to a soul-killing corporate job or some other job where they are working for someone else that isn't really a great boss. Not that being an employee is a bad thing. It isn't at all. Not that working for someone is a bad thing. It isn't at all. I would be screwed without my team. I value them immensely. But if you are really an entrepreneur at heart, then quitting and going back to the workforce is a failure of doing what you are meant to do. It's falling short of becoming who you were meant to be. And for that reason, getting overwhelmed and leading to paralysis and ultimately quitting, well, it's just sad. It's fucking tragic. And if that's the situation that you are facing, if you're feeling tempted to tap out right now, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. And to communicate what I want to say to you today. I want to talk about a cheesy after-school, made-for-television movie. Now, I don't remember what the name of this movie is, and I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I do remember that it was one of those after-school, made-for-TV movies designed to get kids to care about the environment. Like I said, I don't remember much about it, but I do remember one scene that happened on an ocean beach in California. In this scene, some sort of environmental event had happened, like there had been a big tidal wave or something and the tide had washed out, and the whole beach was covered with starfish. I mean, literally thousands and thousands of starfish. And the thing is, all these little starfish, they were totally fucked. They had been washed up so far onto the beach that they couldn't get off the shore and back into the ocean. Basically, they were stranded. And eventually, they were going to die. So, in this scene, this young girl feels really sorry for this starfish. Her heart breaks for them. And so she starts picking up the starfish and flinging them into the water. And she does this again and again and again, one after the next. And as she is doing this, this older, kind of grumpy looking man comes along and says, "What are you doing? There are thousands of these things. You can't possibly save all of them." "No, I can't," the girl says. But then she picks up a starfish and flings it into the water. "But I can save that one." And she picks up another starfish. "And I can save that one." And then she picks up another and flings it into the water. "And I can save that one." And I don't remember exactly what happened at the end of the movie, but basically her willingness to do what she can inspires others to join in. And together, they saved the starfish. And happy Earth Day, la fucking da. Whatever. My point is not to get you to watch the movie. My point is that when you're overwhelmed, you need to remember this: fling the damn starfish. Don't look at the whole beach covered with sea creatures. Pick up the starfish closest to you and fling that motherfucker into the ocean. Obviously, what I'm trying to say is focus on the next task. Complete the next task. Then go on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. You know, by now, everyone knows that quote that every self-help guru and football coach on the planet has said a million times. They say how you do one thing is how you do everything. But let me put a spin on that quote and say this: how you do everything is by doing one thing. The problem with average and inexperienced entrepreneurs is that they look at all they have to do and they look at it together. They look at the whole beach, when in reality, they need to look at the starfish right in front of them. Pick up the starfish and fling it into the ocean. And the crazy thing about that is that if you do that, everything will work out. Everything will be just fine. And that's not an empty promise. And then that's not sugar-coated encouragement. That is my personal experience. You know, when I speak at conferences on how to make more money in your medical business, I often talk about building out your products in a way that is vertically integrated. And as I'm explaining that to people, I talk about how you need to create a spider web diagram. In other words, you jot down the different products or services that you offer, and then you see how you can connect it to another product or service, and then another, and another. And eventually you have this diagram that is an interconnected web of products and services that together result in clinics making a ton of profits. Well, I don't know how to fully explain it, but when you zero in on one task and then another, when you fling one starfish into the ocean and then another, eventually it sets a chain of events, a chain of actions in motion where things start getting done. Critical tasks are completed. Progress is made. Momentum is built. And somehow, some way, you are a step closer to fulfilling your goals. You are a day closer to realizing your dreams. Listen, I get it. There are always a million things to do in business. But the reality is there are always a million things to do in life. It doesn't mean that each day you can't experience and enjoy the results of your work. It takes a lifetime to develop a great marriage. That doesn't mean I can't enjoy my wife today. It takes a lot of hard work and often a long time to build a multi-million-dollar company. That doesn't mean you can't experience the results today. It doesn't mean that you can't experience the growth today. But you won't be able to see the results of your working long term if you let yourself be overwhelmed by doing everything at once. So take a deep breath, chill the fuck out, stop looking at the whole beach, zero in on that one thing, pick up the starfish, and fling that damn thing into the ocean.